Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our Life to the Full Tuesday night call. I've just been really excited about these calls because it's been a lot of fun to just share about things that have to do with our mindset and just our growth as people, as individuals. I've shared with you guys over and over that, Plexus has been a vehicle for me to just really discover more about myself and to grow and to step into things that I had been holding myself back from, and really just to become more of the person I was made to be. I realized in this that change is not about losing your identity, it is about finding it. And so that's what we are, just on a journey of just figuring out like who we are, how to live more fully into that person and into that purpose. And so I love being a part of that. I love learning about these things. I love learning about growth, and I love actually experiencing growth. And so tonight we're going to talk about one of those things. And so I've been reading some books lately. We talked last week about personal growth and about how we should be filling ourselves up with good things, with content, with encouraging things. We should continue to grow our mind and to stretch those muscles and to learn, and that we can't just live off of, the same thing that we've learned in one season in life for the rest of our lives. And so how do we continue to give ourselves resources like podcasts and books and all of these different things? And so I'm trying to take my own advice and actually read books and finish things that I start. And one of the things that I finished last week was, or a week maybe before that, was The Big Leap. And this week I am reading the book, The Traveler's Gift. Now, this is a book that Plexus did as a book club, which is really exciting that they're doing that, because same thing like we're talking about, just growing ourselves. It's not just about doing a business with Plexus. It's not even just about products, but it is about how your health, your body, mind, soul, relationships, how that all works together to affect your life and to help you make the decisions moving forward to be who you were made to be. And so I love that they picked this book because, number one, I have been a person my entire life who says I will never read anything that is nonfiction because it's boring. So that was something I sort of had, claimed for myself in high school and college, because I love stories. I love feeling like I'm a part of a story. I have used stories in my life to inspire me to do better and to be better. And I've also used stories in my life to drown out the noise and to just kind of like escape from my own world, sometimes in a healthy way, sometimes in not a healthy way, when it came to like shows and things like that, which I've shared with a lot of you guys. So anyway, I was really excited about this book, The Traveler's Gift, because it is full of good content, of challenging things, but it is in the form of a story. It is like a novel, with a character, and it goes back into history, and he meets up with some really amazing people and learns some really important life lessons. And historical fiction is one of my favorite types of fiction. And so having all of this good growth stuff that's applicable for just success of your life and for becoming that person that you are made to be, made me excited. So between finishing The Big Leap and starting this book, I was really challenged with a lot of things. And the first thing I want to talk about is being challenged with the idea that I am a victim of my circumstances. Now, I know that a lot of us wouldn't call ourselves victims, but a lot of if you really think about it, a lot of the verbiage that we use, a lot of the things that we say, it really shows that we have this victim mentality where we are not in control of our own lives, and that everybody else, it's their fault for the things that happen to us. And so even as far as time, I think we talked about this last week about saying that, I don't have enough time for that. And we act like we are victims of time, where really we all have the same amount of time in the day, and we create what we want to do with that time. And so that was really the start of me realizing, like, shoot, I really say these things to myself, and I treat myself like, like I'm not in control, like other people and other things, outside forces are getting in the way of me doing things. And you guys, I realized that is an excuse. And one of the things it says in this book, just this simple phrase, is the buck stops here. And it was like in this moment when I read this, where I'm feeling like I have to make that decision of like, the buck stops here. I'm not going to blame everything that happens on my kids or my husband or the clock, but I am literally going to claim action and responsibility for what I am doing. And so instead of saying, I don't have time, saying, I actually don't want to do that right now, or I'm choosing to do something else. It's not a bad thing. But I think many times we just don't want to own up because we're afraid of making other people feel a certain way. And I have lived that way so often, being afraid of, and not even bad things, but like being afraid of offending people, or being afraid if people think I'm judging them. And in light of that, I have made myself really small. And not only have I made myself small, but I blamed other people for that. But it's not fault. They're not telling me you must be small, you must not do that. I am literally creating myself that, they are the ones controlling me. They're the ones making me do this. And I'm choosing to live that way. And so really taking ownership of the way that I think about myself, and I'm choosing, right now I want to just sit down and not do anything. I don't want to go on a run. I don't feel like going on a run, or I'm going to get up and I'm going to do it. So really taking ownership over our own life. I want to say over those things, but really over our own life, and deciding that, today the buck stops here, that these things end. I'm no longer going to blame everybody else for what I'm doing or not doing, but I am going to say that I am choosing today. What am I going to do? Am I going to get up and be distracted, or am I going to get up and say, I'm going to get things done? And that whatever those things are, it is up to me to decide. There's a quote that I heard at this retreat I went on that was, doing isn't hard, deciding is. And that really bothered me, because I felt like, no, deciding is not hard. We all want to do the good things. I want to do the responsible things. I want to make the choices of things that are good. And it's just hard work to do it. But now that I really think about it, I'm like, no, deciding is the hard thing. Because how many of us sit in seasons of indecision, or days of indecision, where we're like, well, I just don't know what to do. Is this right? Or is this wrong? Or what is the impact of this going to be? And realizing that, even for a simple example, like getting up and working out, the actual putting on your shoes and turning on the video, or putting on your shoes and getting down and doing some push-ups, or putting on your shoes and going out for a run is really not that hard. It takes effort to work out, yes, but it's not really a hard thing to do. But deciding that you're going to put down your phone, deciding that you're going to put on your shoes, deciding that it is important to you is the hard part. And it is the part that we are responsible for. But so many times we use other things as excuses, whereas instead, like, if we just made a list of priorities and we said, these are the things I'm going to do, we would get those things done. And so really, making that decision and recognizing that deciding is the hard part, put a couple of seconds thought into it, decide to do something, and then just do it. So one of the characters that hit me the most in this book, it was actually someone he visited during the Civil War. And I don't want to give away too many things, but he talked about being a person of action. And when the main character here asked this guy in the war, like, why are you here? What are you doing? And he says, I'm here because it's the right thing to do. It's the right thing to do, to be here and to be fighting for other people's freedom. And maybe I don't have the qualifications or whatever, but when it comes, if the decision is doing nothing or doing something, I will be somebody who does something every time. And it just hit me, because I feel like a lot of times, I don't know if anyone else can relate, I sit down and I get so caught up with what am I supposed to do, or preparing to do something, that I never actually do it. I mean, can anybody else relate with, like, well, let me get my calendar and let me make sure that I plan everything out, and let me make sure that everything is ready. And then I run out of time, or I just never do it, or I just decide that it's too hard because the preparation itself is too hard. And instead, if I just did something about it and kind of figured out the rest later, that, it's like, if it's a good thing, my dad used to say, if it's not illegal or immoral, like, if it's a good thing and you can walk towards it, like, just do something. You can flip it around later on, right? But something is better than nothing. And I think especially right now in the season of life that we're all in, stuck in quarantine and feeling like, I don't even know what to do. And we all have more time than we know what to do with. And yet, how many of you guys have sat through days where you feel like I have so much time and I have so many things I could do, and then you end up doing nothing? Like, there's too many choices, right? Or we're just, and of course we're feeling all of the ways, we're feeling all of the things, we're sad, we're lonely, you know, we're feeling like we're missing out on milestones, or like things aren't happening. But in the midst of that, we could choose, you know, I'm gonna get some crap done, right? And whether that's working on my own mindset, working on my own health, working on my exercise, working on my eating habits, working on reading books, whatever that is, just pick something and do it. You can still shift it. You can still say, okay, I'm going to turn around and do something else now, but something is better than nothing. And especially in a culture where we just scroll Facebook, where we scroll Instagram, and we spend a lot of time doing that, especially if you're in a business or something where that's part of it. And we can get so distracted by doing that we stop doing the good things, right? That we stop doing the things of action. And so I think that a huge part of that is deciding I'm going to be somebody who acts. And now comes the question, well, what do we act on? What do we do? And so I think it's really important for us to ask ourselves the question, you know, what's important to me? What are things that I value? What are things that when I hear about them, I get excited? Or the things when I hear about them, I get angry, like righteously angry, like that's something that's happening in the world, or in this somebody I know, that's their situation. What are the things that we're passionate about? Because I think we're all passionate about something. We all want to be a part of something. We all want to be a part of something bigger than ourselves, right? And so when we sit there and we can think about those things and we can decide we are going to be a part of changing our situation or someone else's situation, and we decide that we are not going to stop until that happens, we will see that through. We will see that through, but you have to decide. You have to decide that no matter what people say, no matter what people think, no matter how you look, no matter how tired you get, no matter what obstacles come your way, that you are going to continue to push forward and do something about the things that matter to you, about the things that you're passionate about. And it can be a 1-degree shift. We talk a lot about a 1-degree shift in a plane's trajectory will make them land in a completely different place. So it could be a 1-degree shift, like I'm going to read 15 minutes a day, regardless of what else is going on. Or it could be a huge shift, like I'm going to move to a different place, or I am going to quit a job, or I'm going to get a different job, or I am going to, you know, amend this relationship, or whatever it is. It could be a small shift, or it could be a big change. It could be starting a movement. It could be starting a nonprofit. It could be helping to fund a ministry, whatever it is. You know, it could be paying for someone's groceries, but saying, I am going to be somebody who decides I'm going to go after something and I am going to see it through. I am somebody who gets really passionate, and I'm also somebody who quits a lot. And I will admit that, because it is easy to get passionate about things. It is not easy to follow things through to the end. Can anybody relate? And I think, you know, even last year I trained for a marathon, right? And I was excited, and I like to run. I really enjoy running. But when it came to the actual nitty gritty, hard, do the runs every day, do the long run every week, it was hard to see it through. And because of that, I finished the marathon and had fun, and I'm sweating a lot. That's why I keep touching my hair. But anyway, sorry, side note. But when it came to it, it was hard for me to follow through on the training. And so what happened? I got injured, right? And not to say that I wouldn't have gotten a little bit injured or a little bit sore if I would have kept on the training, but there was something that I was missing because I missed the follow through and then still did the big thing, and I found injury. And I think a lot of us will do that in life. We will get really excited about something and we don't follow through with the steps to make it happen, and either it doesn't happen at all, we get injured, somebody else gets injured, you know, literally or metaphorically, and we see things that we were excited about fall. But the question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you going to just let it fall? And there may be seasons where certain things you have to say goodbye to, right? Or are you going to say, I have a passion in my heart for this, and I'm going to see it through to the end? And you know, well, I'm not going to give it away who they talk about in this, but it's really like, you know, but let's just think about this. Think about the people in history. Think about the people. Do you think these people who made these big, huge things happen knew that they were going to be famous? No, probably not. But because they were people who followed through, who worked hard, who didn't give up, they were people who everybody knows their name. And that wasn't necessarily their goal, but it happened, right? And they have made huge claims to history. I've been seeing a post floating around the past couple of days about Thomas Edison, right? And Thomas Edison is somebody I already was like looked up to, because there's a quote that says, you know, Thomas Edison, I bet one of his assistants sat there and was like, look, there's 500 things that, like, this light bulb is never going to work. We've tried 500 things, 500 failed experiments, and it hasn't worked. And they said, you know what Thomas Edison probably said? Of course we've discovered something. We've discovered 500 things that don't work. And that it said that it took over 1,000 things he put inside that little bulb before he found something that would light, before he found something that would work. And he did not give up. And, you know, there's a post going around about, you know, him and his mother and how that all started. But I just think about him. I think about these people from history who they made a name for themselves, not because they were looking to be famous, but because they didn't give up. And how we live in a culture that just says that things should be easy, or that if things don't come easy, they're not meant to be. And that is a really, really dangerous place to stay, because things are meant to be hard. You know, you guys know that I always look to Jesus and to the Bible for answers. And the one thing that Jesus says you can count on is not that things will be easy and everything is going to come when you want it. It's that in this world, you will have trouble. Things will be hard. That is the thing you can count on, right? And it's what you do with that determines how the outcome is going to be and who you're going to be and who you're going to influence. So that's a total other tangent here. But we have the choice, okay, you guys? We have the choice how we're going to feel. I say to my kids every single day, when they say I'm bored, I say bored is a choice. Because we have a house filled with games, filled with paper and crayons and all these things. You have siblings to play with. Like, being bored is a choice. It is an attitude that you're choosing. That's what I tell my kids. I say, it's your choice to be happy, to have fun right now. That is your choice. You can create fun if you want to, right? You can create excitement with you if you want to. Alexis and I were talking today, and I was like, oh, I just miss you. Like, I miss talking. It's something I need to do every day. I need to talk to people. I need to talk things out, and to talk about what I'm learning, to talk about what I'm struggling with, because I want to connect with people. Well, that's a choice I can make. I can make sure that I'm talking to people every day, but how many times do I just sit there and mope around instead? Anybody else ever just mope around when you know what the cure is for yourself, whether it's exercise, reading, whether it's talking to a friend, putting on some music? And so we have to figure out what those things are for us. I'll tell you what, when I'm in like a weird mood in my house, I'll put on the Trolls soundtrack. Just picks me right up, you know. I got this feeling inside my butt. I don't know. It's just like, it gives me that, like, okay, it fires me up. Like, let's get some cleaning done here. It's not something big, but it's something. You know, our friend Alita, she always says, like, action is the cure for everything, basically. If you're feeling tired, if you're feeling unmotivated, just do something. Get down and drop and give me 10, right? Clean something in your house, do something. But I want to just end this talking about this one quote. And there's a bunch of different ways that I've seen this written, but I'll just say that, like, it can be the devil, the voice inside your head, whatever it is, will look at you and say, you can't survive the storm. But the warrior looks back and whispers, I am the storm. And this is the thing I want you guys to know, that in the midst of craziness around you, you can, number one, be at peace within yourself. But number two, you can look back at that thing and you can say, you can come at me, I'm coming at you harder. Right? And you can say, I have a fire within me, whatever that is, that I want you to know. If I could look at every single one of your faces at the same time, even those who don't have your camera on, and to say, you have something within you. You have a capability within you. You have a power within you. You were created in the image of a great creator who has put something special in you for the world to see. And if you just would unleash that and you would stop being afraid of what everybody is saying or what everyone is thinking, or the fact that you grew up a certain way, or, you know, your parents were a certain way, or your siblings were a certain way, or your spouse is a certain way, or you've been through hard things, you know, those hard things are, yes, horrible, but they're also opportunities to learn and to grow. And what we're responsible for our own response. We are responsible for our decisions. You know, people will ask me in certain times of my life, how can you not be mad at them? Or how can you choose to act this way? And I say, because I'm not responsible for that. I'm not responsible for how they treat me, but I'm responsible for how I treat them. I'm responsible for my own actions. I'm responsible for my response. I'm responsible, like, they can't control me. And I've let people control me too many times, but what I try to do, what I want to be, is to say they cannot control me. And I will not let them have the power over me. Let's talk just 1 second about bitterness and about holding things against people. There is one of my absolute favorite quotes ever. It says, unforgiveness is like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. There is a thing that has to do with when we allow the opinions of others, or the possible opinions. Most of the time, it's what we're making up in our own heads. It's not even what they're saying, right? And we allow those things to control us to the point where it is literally breeding bitterness and anger and death inside of us. It is fear. It is holding us back from everything that we're capable of. And if we would just let that go, like, what we would be free to step into, the chains that we break on our own heart, on our own arms, and the things that we could do, on our own mind, and the things that we could think, and the things that we could accomplish, would be so stinking huge. And so today, I want you guys to think about, write it down. What is something that you are going to let go of? Something that has been holding you back, a person's opinions or imagined opinions that you're letting hold you back. What are you going to let go of? And what is something you're going to step into? Tell it to yourself. So tomorrow when you wake up and you're tired, or you're lonely, or you're feeling bored, what are you going to do to say, I'm going to act. I'm going to be a person of action. Momentum comes through action. It is a lot easier to push a moving object towards something than to take something that is sitting there as dead weight and try to bring it somewhere. And so if you just take one step forward and another step after that and another step after that, you are going to be able to run towards things. And if you need to make a shift, it's still easier to move and shift something that's already moving. So do something you know that is good. There are lots of options. Read something, clean something, run, lift something, do some push-ups, right? Do something that you can be proud of that will help you just get into forward motion, okay? So just think about that, write that down somewhere. I can post that one with it that says, you know, there's the voice that might say, you can't handle the storm. And you can whisper, or you can yell back, I am the storm. You are the storm. There is a fire inside of you. What are you going to do with it? Okay, thank you guys for listening. Just if anybody missed the announcement at the beginning, Jackie Giordano, she has a degree in something to do with marketing, and she's amazing. She has helped me personally with a lot of my posting, and she's going to be doing a training for us next Thursday night about your personal brand, about discovering your personal brand, how to implement that into things. So if you're someone who does Plexus as a business, or if you're someone who uses your social media for another kind of business, or about influence, or you just want to hear about it, Jackie's going to be doing some training for us about that. It's going to be a lot of fun, really exciting. She is someone who I love to talk to, and I love to pick her brain and to chat back and forth with. So you're going to love to hear from her. Look out for all the info on that in a post going up on Life to the Full later tonight. And please, you guys, just remember tonight, remember this week, the end of July, the new month is coming up soon. What are you going to do to put yourself into action? What are you going to choose to let go of? And what are you going to choose to help you just get into that forward motion? I love you all. I'm so thankful that you're here. I'm thankful that I get to share with you. And I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Peace out, friends.